And it now gives me the greatest possible pleasure to welcome to the podium the President of Somalia.
Your Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and pleasure to stand in front of you today and share with you very, very concise stand of Somalia and the realities. On behalf of the Federal Republic of Somalia, I would like to thank His Majesty's government for organizing this important and timely event that brings the world stage the magnitude of food security challenges that continue to affect my country and other countries around the globe. The persistence of food insecurity is due to a variety of factors, including climate shocks, heavy reliance on increasingly expensive food imports, global disruption of supply chain, and weak infrastructure. We therefore need a multifaceted approach that intertwines investment in peace and security, climate-adaptive technology and infrastructure, financial inclusion, as well as robust economic and trade policies. I'm glad today to hear from His Excellency the Prime Minister of His Majesty's government that many of those issues which UK has been contributing a lot will further put in more investment on those areas that brings the approach successful. Somalia has been struggling to provide the factors that make Somalia always remain in a food crisis situation. Somalia is a rich country. We have more per capita arable land than many other African countries and global countries, but unfortunately the circumstances that were hindering Somalia are some of which are still there. We are very much grateful the same that our global partners and the African Union, continental partners in the African Union has helped Somalia to move away from this, particularly the security issue. The Somali people have decided to address those challenges, among which is the security and the state building. Institutions that were not there for a long time now started to emerge. Capacitating those institutions and financing their activities are another crucial important which we have. In Somalia, we are ambitious in our goals and we are developing sound policy solutions across the multifaceted areas, beginning with peace and security. Since June 2022, Somali National Army has been able to partner with the local forces and the global partners in an unprecedented offensive that has recovered from more than 70 towns and villages from Al-Shabaab in the southern and the central federal member states of Somalia. These newly recovered areas are home to some of the richest farming lands in the country. The Somali government has started a stabilization program after the liberation, which has two important aims. One is to stabilize the situation and provide services to the people who has been lacking those services for more than a decade now. And the second is making the transition program as a bridge that moves the Somali people from the humanitarian situation into a development situation. It's not easy to jump from the humanitarian situation immediately to development, so we need that transition, and the stabilization program that Somalia has developed and the international partners, among which the United Kingdom is one of the major partners supporting Somalia to provide the stabilization program work in it. Number two is the climate adaptive technology and infrastructure. According to a recent study by the African Development Bank, Somalia has the highest resource potential of any African nation for onshore wind power and could generate between 30 to 45,000 megawatts of wind power. We also have 300 days of sunshine annually. So the solar power is another major opportunity in Somalia. With sufficient financing, we can invest in climate-resilient infrastructure in critical sectors such as the renewable energy, water catchment systems, regenerative agricultural practices, and feeder roads within the agricultural land. Number three, the financial inclusion. Access to finance is a key, and we are also working on making affordable loans accessible to the agricultural sector to encourage further investment in the local production. Somalia has adopted a economic model of private-driven economy, and the government will provide the necessary legal framework and the conducive and attractive environment for the investors. Many legislations have been passed in recent times in the Somali legislative chambers that protects and attracts and helps the investors locally and internationally. To this end, we have been working towards accession into the East African community, which will be finalized by the end of this month, as we hope, allowing Somalia to access greater market from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. A huge market for us, and the Somali people are very much entrepreneurial and business people. In conclusion, to mitigate the potential for a famine in Somalia, the international community, especially the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, and many more partners, among which is the United Arab Emirates, have provided a huge amount of resources to avert the famine in Somalia. As rightly His Excellency, the Prime Minister said, Somalia was on the brink of famine when we came to the office last year, and with these supports and the organization my government did, we averted that famine. The country is not in risk of famine now, but the factors that contributed to the famine are still there. So we are struggling with that, and the stabilization program is one of the cases that we intended to stop the famine. Millions of lives have been saved with that generosity. However, given the current climate changes, we know that without similar levels of investments that can keep agro-pastoral communities intact, health, and able to sustain themselves economically, we will continue to witness food insecurity and human suffering that entails for generations. The larger scale investment in energy system and transport infrastructure will require funds for multilateral and bilateral financing institutions, and Somalia has developed the necessary institutions to work with and the necessary legislations and acts to help. However, at the current rates, African countries pay more than 5 times the interest rates than many other parts of the world. Handouts did not help and will not help in the future. Did not help in the past and will not help in the future. But financing at a fair rate in the economic uplifting of the people is what helps a lot. Finally, to be successful, we need a collective effort of governments, international organizations, and private sector to deliver for the most vulnerable societies, among which Somalia is one. The African continent in general is working hard to remove the barriers for economic development, like establishing the Continental Free Trade Area, whereby a huge development and access to the markets will be within the African continent. In the East African region, where the climate change is affecting a lot, millions of livestock died, a lot of children dies, the agricultural land is transforming. So, and again, here is where again another investment is necessary. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please thank our principal guests as they depart this morning, the President and the Prime Minister.